Hello friends, this is Eric Walmsley, Systems Engineer with Nutanix. Today I wanted to show you one of my favorite features, which is the built-in capacity planning. That is a native feature to Nutanix when you're running Prism Central. It does require the Prism Pro license, but again it is native to Prism Central. So if you have Prism Central deployed in your environment, everything I'm about to show you works fresh out of the box. So first, you log into Prism Central like I am here. I'm just on the home screen. And you go up to the navigation menu, go to operations, and go to planning. Okay, I just have one cluster today, so we'll click on that cluster so we can see what's going on. And this is in a lab environment, so I don't have a lot of workloads, right? And that's also why it's saying that the estimated time of when you'll run out of resources is not available, because as you can see, my resource consumption is pretty low. But that's what's nice about this first screen here is when you're looking at your environment, you can look at your storage, see where the limit is. So this one looks like you want to stay under about 1920 TB. You can look at your CPU and see you want to stay under about 170 gigahertz usage. And for memory, same thing. It also shows you your virtual machines down here. So if you were trying to figure out, hey, which of my VMs are consuming more RAM than others, or hey, maybe we go back to CPUs and we can see that Bob down in accounting actually assigned too many processors to something, but these guys look fine, right? Just my small little VMware cluster. If you're on this page and you were to see like, hey, maybe storage you had 15 days, but CPU and memory had 365, that would mean you were low on storage. So you would want to go here and just kind of click and see what's going on. Again, it's nice because Nutanix gives you a review of what's being consumed. You can see kind of the color coordinated indicators here. So like sometimes I've seen in environments where customers forget that they've enabled snapshots be taken once an hour and they're kept for 5 months or something like that. So you would come in here and say, hey, why is my snapshot usage at 30 terabytes? Why is my system usage at 15 terabytes? While my live usage is at 0.1 terabytes or something like that. Obviously that's not the case here, just giving you some examples. The other thing that's nice built into it, I won't go into it today, but just so you know it's here, is if you did have a lot of virtual machines and your environment is running on Nutanix, if you click the optimize resources, it'll actually take you to a page and show your virtual machines and let you know, hey, maybe this system has too many CPUs, too much RAM, or maybe even not enough RAM. It'll also let you know things like bully VMs, over provision, under provision. What I want to look at today is our capacity planning. So that's what this button down here that says get started is. So we're going to adjust our resources. So let's click that and then let's play a couple scenarios out. So let's pretend this is not in my lab, that we're actually at some sort of bank and the bank is about to do some sort of acquisition. So the boss man comes into you and says, hey, underlings, I want to know if we buy this other bank, what do you guys need from the infrastructure side? So what you can do is come to this capacity planning and you can say, hey, we want to plan for maybe 12 months out or 6 months out, whatever your organization is. We'll just play with 12 months here. And our existing workload's already in there. And let's just say you know that every time you do an M&A, you need to add maybe 15 VMs. So M&A VMs. So each VM has 4 CPUs, has, let's do it 32 gigs of RAM, and let's go with 500 gigs of space. And let's say there's going to be 15 of them. That's what I meant to do. Obviously, somebody's meds need to be readjusted. We'll hit save. And that didn't really put much of a damper on our plans. So that's cool. So nothing really changes. But then let's say the boss man comes back to you and says, I want to add VDI to our environment. And we've got 2,000 employees. And let's say they're all power users. And we're going to roll out VDI September 1st. Because all good things happen on Sundays. Hit save. And you can see that we're going to run out of capacity in about 80 days for CPU, memory, and storage. If you want, you can also change the view here. There's these two options. So if you want to see what your actual consumption numbers are estimated to be for each of your resource types, you can do that. I do kind of like the hamburger menu here as well, because it looks like we've got about 2.5 months of runway, which just happens to coincide with how far out we've done our planning. So now we have these two scenarios. We obviously aren't going to last for an entire year. So you can come back down here and click this blue recommend button, and the Prism Central engine will go back and calculate how many nodes you'll need to hit your resource requirements. And it'll even tell you when you should probably deploy them. So here it's actually recommending that we deploy 13 of the 3060s, and you want to do that near the end of August. And if you want, you can even come in here and you can change the hardware a little bit. So maybe we want 14 nodes just because we're crazy or something, and we're actually, we'll just leave it like that. Okay, so then we're good for 12 months, right? And the other nice thing is you can hit generate PDF, and it'll spit out an executive level summary for you. So everything that you just talked to the boss man, you can record it. Okay, so the first thing is it's going to show you everything that you're saying that you're going to do, right? So we're going to add a couple different workloads, and we're going to add some new equipment. And then it tells you what your environment currently looks like. So we have 4 hosts. They're kind of small and measly, but we're not really using much of anything. And then we say, hey, currently this is what your environment looks like. So consumption is very close to 0. But we're going to add all those other resources. So hey, here's these new projects that are going to happen. My VM from the M&A activity, and then my VDI project. And what we need to do is add 14 nodes. And then what it's going to look like, right? So this is more of what your capacity and consumption should look like from an estimated standpoint when you roll out these projects. Okay, so this is something that you could save, maybe share with the boss man so that you have proof instead of just kind of licking your finger and holding it up to the wind, hoping that you get it right, or doing your own spreadsheets. The other things that's nice is you can actually save these scenarios so you can come back to them later. So maybe if you're in a meeting and someone goes, hey, what if this or this or this? Well, you can save that one and just say this was meeting 5. And then if you wanted to come back and, hey, let's do another one. Oops, sorry, I meant to go back. Let's actually look at all of our scenarios. So here's just the one scenario we just created. And let's make a new one. And if the boss man says, hey, we're not going to do anything else, maybe we're just going to add some SQL workloads or something else. But you guys get the idea, right? So there are other predefined workloads in here. There's also this one for change in demand, which will take your existing workload and say, hey, we're going to grow by 10% by this date, or maybe 5%. And maybe you could add this every month or something, just depending on what's going on. The other one with like SQL Server, you can come in and you can define what kind of workloads it is, all that good stuff, and then the number of actual databases. So that's capacity planning in a nutshell. Obviously, it's very configurable. You can do a lot of things. And you even saw that when you do run low on resources, it gives you a recommendation for what you can do. So, hey, maybe you should add some more nodes, maybe add a single node. It also will tell you if you've got multiple projects going on, or if you're out of resources today and you want to add another workload. It'll say, hey, maybe today you need to add two nodes, but then next month before you start your next project, you should add 4 more nodes or what have you. So you can take this, you can go back to your Nutanix team and say, hey, can you guys help me roll this out? And you can go back to leadership as well and say, hey, when you start budgeting for these nodes. Or if it looks like this, where you've got over a year of runway, if that's good for your environment, then you can go back to the boss man and say, I've got it documented. We can add that workload. And yeah, it'll change some things, but we don't need any additional resources, which is great. That's capacity planning. I hope that helps someone out there, and have a great day.